I'm Reese Carter, 18, freshman in communications at Whitmore University, Massachusetts. I'm already drowning in student loan anxiety, and it isn't even Halloween yet. My parents are solid middle class. Dad teaches high school history, Mom works 12-hour shifts in the ICU. But in New England that still means I pay my own rent, my own groceries, and every single overpriced textbook. So 3 weeks into the semester I walk into Blue Oak Café with a half-decent resume, and a whole lot of desperation. The place smells like burnt sugar, cedar wood, and fresh rain on brick. Edison bulbs glow warm against exposed walls. On Sundays there's always vinyl spinning Fleetwood Mac. It's the kind of cafe that charges $6 for a latte, and somehow still feels like a hug. Mrs. Langford, the owner, hires me after exactly 4 questions and one long look that says she trusts her gut more than my references. She smiles and adds, "My daughter helps manage on weekends. You'll like her." She doesn't warn me I'll do a lot more than like her. Callie Langford is 20, a junior, art history major, and the kind of beautiful that sneaks up on you and knocks the air out of your lungs. Not Instagram beautiful. Real life beautiful. Dark blonde hair always twisted up with a paintbrush stuck through it like a pencil. Hazel eyes that change depending on what color apron she's wearing. A voice like honey left in the sun too long. The first time I see her she's balanced on a ladder in overalls and scuffed Doc Martens, hanging a new local artist's work, humming along to Phoebe Bridgers like the rest of the world doesn't exist. She glances down, catches me staring and smirks. "You the new girl Mom won't shut up about?" That's me. Reese. I come with oat milk burns and a crippling fear of the milk steamer. She laughs, this low, warm sound that settles in my ribcage and climbs down. "Callie. Welcome to mornings when the professors flood in clutching briefcases and existential dread. Afternoons when the soccer team thinks flirt is a personality trait. The brutal Sunday brunch rush when the church crowd wants bottomless mimosas and Jesus at the same time. Callie teaches me how to pull a halfway decent rosetta without cursing, how to sneak the burnt pastries for ourselves, how to tell when Mrs. Langford is stress baking banana bread, which means run. In return I teach her how to make cold foam that doesn't collapse like a bad souffle, and how to pronounce Carter, so debt collectors stop mangling it. Between steaming milk and wiping tables we talk. Real talk. She tells me about growing up in the tiny apartment above the cafe. How her dad walked out when she was 9 and her mom turned heartbreak into this place. How everyone assumes money fixes everything when your last name's on the sign out front. How she's supposed to inherit Blue Oak one day but all she wants is to curate exhibits in Berlin or Brooklyn or literally anywhere that isn't here. I tell her about my parents' pride and their quiet panic every time tuition is due. About lying awake calculating how many shifts I need to cover rent and still owing 4 figures after financial aid. About how I'm terrified I picked the wrong major, and I'll end up back in my hometown editing wedding videos for kids who bullied me. She listens like she's memorizing the shape of my fears. One Thursday in October the weather turns sharp and mean. We're closing together, just the 2 of us. Rain is lashing the windows so hard the open sign flickers like it's nervous. The last customer finally leaves with their to-go cup. We're both soaked from running trash bags to the alley dumpster. My Whitmore hoodie clings to me. Her flannel is dark with water at the shoulders. We mop in silence for a while. Lo-fi playlist humming. Swish of water, squeak of shoes. Then Callie stops. Leans on her mop handle. Looks at me dead on. "You ever feel like you're living the wrong life?" She asks, voice soft under the rain. "Like everyone handed you a script and you're reading the lines but none of it feels like yours?" I swallow hard. "Every single day." She nods slowly. Takes one step closer. The cafe lights are low, catching in the wet strands of hair stuck to her forehead like little halos. "I look at you," she says, barely above the rain, "and I don't feel like I'm reading someone else's lines anymore." My breath actually stops. We're standing between the pastry case and the espresso machine Mop's forgotten. She reaches out, brushes a strand of soaked hair off my forehead with fingers that tremble just enough for me to notice. I don't move, because if I move I'll kiss her and I don't know what happens after that. But she moves first. Leans in slow, so slow the whole world holds its breath, and presses her forehead to mine. No kiss. Not yet. Just the weight of everything unsaid passing between us like electricity. It's the softest thing anyone has ever done to me. And the loudest. We stay like that until the rain eases and the fridge kicks on with a mechanical cough that breaks the spell. She pulls back an inch. I searching mine. This is gonna complicate everything, she whispers. I know, I whisper back. Good, she says, and the smile she gives me is small and terrified and perfect. We finish closing without another word. Lock the door. Flip the sign. Stand under the awning while the street shines wet and orange under the streetlights. She offers me her umbrella even though we're both already drenched. I take it. Our fingers brush. That's the first cut. The one that doesn't bleed but never quite closes. We don't put a label on it. We just stop pretending we're not already in it. It starts with small thefts of time. 5 extra minutes in the walk-in looking for oat milk. Her thumb tracing the inside of my wrist while we count the till. The way she mouths stay. When the last customer leaves and it's just us and the low hum of the neon open sign we forgot to turn off. The first kiss happens on a Tuesday in November that feels like February. Sleet ticking against the windows. Campus dead. The cafe smells like cinnamon and wet wool. I'm wiping down the bar when Callie comes up behind me. Slips her ice-cold hands under my hoodie and rests her palms flat against my ribs, like she's trying to warm them on my heartbeat. Reese, she says, barely a breath against the back of my neck. I turn around and she's right there. So close I can see the tiny scar that cuts through her left eyebrow. Close enough that I stop breathing. She kisses me like she's been waiting her whole life for permission. Soft at first, testing. Then deeper when I make this helpless little sound and fist my hands in her flannel. It tastes like the peppermint syrup we spilled earlier and something that's only hers. My back hits the espresso machine. A bag of beans falls off the shelf and thuds to the floor. Neither of us cares. When we finally pull apart, we're both shaking. She laughs, shaky, stunned. Forehead against mine. So that's what that feels like. I can't even answer. I just kiss her again. After that, we're reckless in the sweetest possible way. Texting until 3 a.m. Her sneaking into my dorm when my roommate's at the library. Lying on my tiny twin bed trading earbuds and pretending we're only listening to music. Me showing up on days I'm not scheduled just to watch her paint the chalkboard menu. Because the way she bites her lip when she concentrates makes me stupid. But nothing stays in the dark forever. My roommate Lauren starts noticing. Why I flinch every time my phone buzzes. Why I come back smelling like cedar and espresso when I'm supposed to be at the library. One night she just asks, "Are you seeing someone? Because you're glowing and it's honestly annoying." I laugh it off. Just really into coffee lately. She gives me that look, the one that says she knows I'm full of it, but lets it go. Callie's side is worse. Mrs. Langford has always been warm to me. Reese, the reliable freshman who never calls out sick. But the first time she catches Callie's hand lingering on my lower back while we restock mugs, something shifts. The smiles get tighter. The questions get pointed. How's your financial aid going, Reese? Any plans for winter break? Or will you be picking up extra shifts? You know we love having you, sweetheart, but Callie's course load is heavy this semester. Translation. Know your place. One slow Sunday she sends Callie to the bank with deposits. Then turns to me while Callie's in the back. You're a sweet girl, Reese. Hard worker. But my daughter has opportunities. Expectations. I'm sure you understand. It's gentle. Polite. It's a guillotine wrapped in velvet. I nod, throat on fire, and spend the rest of the shift hiding in dishwasher steam so no one sees me cry. That night Callie climbs through my dorm window. Because the front desk knows her face now and that's a problem. She finds me curled on my bed pretending to study. She knows immediately. My mom talked to you. Not a question. I shrug like it's nothing. She's protecting you. She's controlling me. Callie sits, pulls my textbook away, takes both my hands. I'm 20 years old. I don't need protecting from you. She's not wrong, Cal, I whisper. I'm a sophomore to be with loans and a meal plan. Your legacy tables and summer houses on the Cape. People are gonna notice. Let them notice. We kiss anyway, slow, desperate. Like we can outrun the world if we just hold tight enough. But the next morning I walk in and the schedule has changed. Callie and I aren't closing together anymore. Just like that, the hours we stole become hours we're watched. The walk-in cooler gets a new camera for inventory. Lingering touches become accidental brushes. We still find ways. A note tucked in her apron pocket. Meet me on the roof 2 a.m. My hoodie left on the office chair so the whole place smells like me when she's doing paperwork. But every stolen moment now has a price. Every kiss feels like it's on a countdown. We get good at hiding. Too good. We learn the exact creak of the back stairwell that leads to the roof. The blind spot behind the syrup rack where the new camera can't see. The 11-minute window between the last barista leaving and the motion sensor lights kicking on. We map every dark corner of each other's bodies like we're trying to memorize a country we might have to flee. Callie tastes like brown sugar and danger now. When she kisses me slow in the walk-in, hand sliding under my shirt just to feel skin, I forget my own name. We don't talk about tomorrow. We only talk in whispers. I missed you today. Stay 5 more minutes. Tell me you're real. But secrets rot if you keep them too long. One Thursday night I stumble back to the dorm at 2:17 a.m. lips swollen, hair smelling like Callie's cedar and paint thinner shampoo. A hickey blooming just below my collarbone that no hoodie can hide. Lauren is sitting cross-legged on her bed under fairy lights, eating instant ramen, staring at me like I'm a stranger. So, she says calmly, the cafe closes at 10, right? I freeze in the doorway. She raises an eyebrow. You've got dark cherry lipstick on your neck, Reese. Doesn't look like yours. I touch the spot without thinking. Busted. I wait for disgust, a lecture, awkward silence. Instead, Lauren sighs, sets her ramen down, and pats the bed. Sit. Talk. I'm not your mom. So I do. I tell her almost everything. The forehead touch in the rain, how Callie makes me laugh when I want to cry about loans, how we're terrified of Mrs. Langford finding out. I leave out the parts that would make me sob. When I'm done, Lauren is quiet for a long time. I'm not gonna lie, she finally says. It's a lot. I'm cool with it, you're my friend, whatever. But people are gonna talk. And her mom owns half of College Hill. You sure you're ready for that? It's not cruel. It's careful. And it still hurts. I nod anyway. A few days later, Lauren silently hands me a box of condoms and says, "Be safe, dummy." Then goes back to her psych notes like it's nothing. It's the kindest caution tape I've ever been wrapped in. Meanwhile, Callie gets the letter. A paid spring internship at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, curatorial track, housing stipend, letter of recommendation from a Whitmore alum on the board. The kind of opportunity that rewrites your resume before you're 21. She brings it to the roof at 1 a.m., paper shaking in her cold fingers. They want me January through May, she says. It's everything my mom's been pushing for. I try to smile. That's incredible, Cal. She doesn't smile back. It's 70 miles away. I'd live there during the week. Maybe weekends too if events run late. 70 miles. A lifetime when you're surviving on stolen minutes. I sit on the freezing tar paper, knees to my chest. You have to take it. I don't want to leave you. You're not leaving me. You're building something. My voice cracks. I'm still figuring out how to pay for next semester's books. She kneels in front of me, cups my face like I'm made of glass. I'll come back every chance I get. We'll make it work. But we both hear what I don't say. You can choose to come back. I never had the option to follow. That night we don't have sex. We just hold each other on the roof until the sky turns lavender. Trading breaths like oxygen is running out. She traces the calluses on my hands from steaming milk 8 hours a day and whispers, I hate that you have to do this alone. I hate it too. The next week Mrs. Langford starts bragging about the internship in front of me. Loudly, proudly. Callie's going to have real museum experience. Real connections. That's how you build a future. Every word is a reminder. Callie gets to build. I get to serve the people who already have one. I start picking up every extra shift I can. If I'm working, I'm not thinking about May, when she'll be in Boston wearing silk blouses and talking about Provenance while I'm still here wiping tables and praying my car doesn't die. Callie notices. One night in the walk-in she pins me against the cold shelves, kisses me hard, angry. "Stop punishing yourself for existing," she says against my mouth. "I'm not going anywhere forever." But her eyes are scared too. We're both waiting for the moment one of us says the thing we can't survive. Maybe love isn't enough when one of you can leave, and the other never had the choice to begin with. It starts with a whisper at the pastry case. Two girls from my intro to media class. "Isn't that the girl hooking up with the owner's daughter?" Guess some people will do anything for extra shifts. By the end of the week the whispers have teeth. Regulars who used to ask about my classes now look through me. A guy who always tipped $5 starts leaving exact change. Someone writes "gold digger" in tiny Sharpie on the tip jar. I scrub it off with bleach until my fingers burn. Mrs. Langford doesn't fire me, yet. But she moves me to 5:30 a.m. opens with the silent old baker. Callie closes. We see each other for 30 seconds during handoff, eyes saying everything our mouths can't. On campus it's worse. Walking past a group of frat guys, one calls out, "Hey Reese, how's the sugar mama?" I keep walking, chin up, heart in my throat, until I'm around the corner and then I throw up in a trash can outside the library. Callie stops eating. Dark circles bloom under her eyes like bruises. She texts me at 3 a.m. "I can't do this to you." 5 minutes later. "I can't do this without you." We meet on the roof at dawn, sky the color of a fresh bruise. "Mom knows," she says, voice raw. Someone sent her a photo of us leaving through the alley. She cried for 2 hours. Said she didn't raise me to throw my life away on a phase. I laugh bitter, broken. "At least your mom cries. Mine would probably just ask if you have good dental." Callie flinches. "Don't do that. Don't make it a competition about who has it worse." That stops me cold. We stand in freezing air, breathing white clouds, until I finally say what I've been swallowing for weeks. "I'm angry at you, Cal. I'm angry that you get to be torn. I'm angry that your biggest fear is disappointing your mom and mine is becoming a campus joke, while I still can't afford to eat if I miss a shift. I'm angry that you have an escape hatch called Boston and I have a dorm contract I can't break because I can't afford first and last on an apartment. I hate that I'm jealous of you for having choices." Everything spills out. Shame, envy, terror that one day she'll realize she traded a future for a girl who counts quarters for laundry. Callie listens without interrupting. When I'm empty she steps forward and takes my freezing hands. "I'm terrified too," she says. "Terrified you'll hate me when I'm in Boston and you're still steaming milk for people who treat you like trash. Terrified my mom will make me choose and I'll choose wrong. But mostly terrified of living the life everyone wrote for me if it means waking up one day without you in it." She pulls a folded paper from her coat, an email confirmation. She's coming out to her mom tonight. At family dinner. In front of her mom, her aunt, her grandparents visiting from Connecticut. She typed it because she knows she'll cry too hard to speak. "I'm done hiding," she says. "I'm telling them I'm queer and that I love you. They can accept it or they can lose me." I stare at the paper like it's a live grenade. "Callie, you could lose everything." "I already did," she whispers. The night I realized I was lying to the people I love most just to keep them comfortable. I start crying ugly, shaking sobs. And she pulls me into her coat that smells like coffee and turpentine and home. That night I don't hide either. I tell Lauren straight. I'm in love with Callie Langford. It's not a phase, not for tips, not for Instagram. I'm done pretending I'm somewhere else at 2 a.m. Lauren looks at me a long second, then opens her arms. I cry into her hoodie that smells like dryer sheets and cheap vanilla. Later I post my first public story. Just our hands intertwined on the roof railing, sunrise behind them. No caption. Callie texts at 11:47 p.m. It was awful. Mom didn't speak the whole meal. Grandma quoted scripture. Aunt asked if I was confused. But I said it. I said your name like it was the holiest thing I know. I'm in the apartment above the cafe now. Doors unlocked. Bring a toothbrush. I do. We lie on her childhood bed under glow-in-the-dark stars that are mostly peeled off, trading stories of our separate wars. Both of us bruised and bleeding and terrified. Both of us still here. Finals week comes and goes like a fever dream. When campus empties for winter break, Callie and I don't go home. She can't face the apartment yet, and I can't afford the bus ticket. So we stay, two girls rattling around a half-deserted college town, building a life out of what's left. First day of break, we walk across the quad holding hands. No hoodies up, breath fogging, fingers locked like it's normal. A guy from my discussion section does a double take. I brace for the smirk. Instead, he just nods once, respect. I almost cry on the salted sidewalk. Some people stare. Some cross the street. A girl I borrowed notes from unfollows me on everything and never speaks again. That one hurts worse than slurs. But then the women's soccer goalie fist bumps us outside the dining hall. An old professor sees us at the library and says, "You two look happy. Keep it." The barista at campus Starbucks starts drawing little hearts in our foam without being asked. It's never all good or all bad. Just is. The week before Christmas, Callie turns down the Boston internship. She reads me the letter aloud, voice shaking but steady. "Thank you for the extraordinary opportunity, but I've realized my real education right now is happening outside gallery walls. I'm learning how to choose myself, and I can't do that 70 miles away from the person who taught me it was possible." Mrs. Langford doesn't speak to her for 9 days. On the 10th day, she leaves a Tupperware of lasagna outside Callie's door with a post. "Eat something, stubborn child." No signature. But the lasagna is still warm, and that's a language we understand. They're not fixed. Maybe never will be. But the silence has holes now, and sometimes light gets through. I pass my classes barely. My GPA looks like a heartbeat on a monitor. Up, down, still alive. I work every holiday shift, even Christmas Eve, because money doesn't take holidays. Callie works them with me. Mrs. Langford pretends not to notice when our hips bump behind the bar, or when Callie steals my scarf. One night in January, the snow is falling in fat, slow flakes. The cafe is dead. Mrs. Langford locks the front door at 8, flips the sign, and hands Callie the keys. "You too close up. I'm tired." She looks at me for a long second, something complicated in her eyes, then walks upstairs without another word. It's not full acceptance. It's space. And sometimes space is the most love a parent knows how to give. Later, chairs up, lights low, Callie pulls me into the office, shuts the door, and kisses me slow and certain against her mother's cluttered desk. We laugh into each other's mouths because we can. Because no one's watching. Because we made it to the other side still holding on. We don't get a fairy tale montage where everyone claps and the credits roll. There's just us walking to the late-night diner at 1 a.m. because we're out of milk. Callie teaching me to drive her mom's old Jeep with the sticky clutch. Me falling asleep on her shoulder on the Greyhound to visit my parents for the first time as half of us. The scar on my knee from tripping over a milk crate running to meet her. The scar on her heart from the night her mom cried. The faint white line on my palm where I gripped a broken mug the day someone called me a slur. They're ugly. They're ours. One night in early spring, we're back on the roof, sharing a blanket and a thermos of spiked hot chocolate. The town is quiet. The stars are loud. Callie traces the newest scar on my hand. "Still hurts sometimes?" "Only when it's cold," I say. "Or when I'm scared we won't make it." She brings my hand to her lips. "Then let it hurt. Scars mean the wound closed, baby. Means we survived." I look at her, this girl who gave up Boston, who stood in her childhood kitchen and chose me over easy, who still flinches when her mom says certain words but shows up anyway. I look at myself, the girl who used to flinch at her own reflection, who learned to take up space, who still counts quarters but no longer counts on disappearing. We're not healed. We're not perfect. We're not even sure about next year. But we're here. We're real. We're scarred and laughing and stupidly, stubbornly in love. And for now, for